Hey there guys, Dragon here, and welcome back to Let's Read Katawa Shoujo. In the last episode, we ventured down into the town with Lily, got some stuff at the Aura Mart, or the 7-Eleven, as you may call it, and on the way back, we ran into Ren. So we're on our way back to Yamaku, but Lily's noticed something is a bit off. So I think this has a negative effect, but I'm not 100% sure, so we're just going to go with this one just to be safe. It's alright, I just need to catch my breath. My condition isn't the best these days. Oh. Is it something that is related to you being transferred here? I mean... She cuts herself off rather abruptly, maybe realizing she was being a bit intrusive. Her instincts are sharp, though, and while I don't like the subject, it's not like I should lie about it. If it's Lily, I don't think I mind. I'm just a little weak for the time being. Hanako said you look fairly healthy, so I naturally thought. Lily doesn't finish her sentence again, letting it trail off with a measure of concern. As she furrows her brow, Lily's uncomfortable expression spurs me to say at least something to ease her feelings. It's surprising she's this flustered considering her straightforward attitude with her own blindness. She must know that not all share her own comfort about such things. No, it's okay. I have a pretty, I guess the best way to put it would be messed up heart, arrhythmia. Had a bad heart attack a while ago because of it and spent most of the spring in a hospital. Ended in Yamaku on doctor's orders. She silently nods her head in acknowledgement. My answer, though, only seems to make Lily furrow her brow even further. She doesn't seem to quite know how to react, given we don't really know each other that well. I can't really fault her for it, given I have the exact same reaction. Well, I do want to... Never did actually find out how to properly pronounce this word, as it's a word that we don't use in high schools, because, well, to be honest, the high school I went to was primarily full of idiots, so of course they wouldn't teach that in a... And I was in honors level English classes like all 4 years, even more so like my freshman year, and we never saw that word, so... I'm gonna actually go look that up. Assuage. While I do not want to assuage her concern, I don't really want to dwell on this either. Don't worry about it. I try to offer a reassuring smile, but then I realize the futility. Without knowing this, Lily smiles at reassuringly, but doesn't say anything further. Arriving at the dorms, Ren stops in front of a mural as if lightning struck her. She's been so quiet for almost all the walk back that I had all but forgotten she was there. It's Friday, isn't it? Yes, Friday, the 8th of June. This is bad. Bad? Why? I think I'm going to go in a fetal position and throw up. Possibly in reverse order. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. It's Friday and nothing is wrong yet. This mural is going to need to be finished by Sunday, so everything's alright. Do you have any drugs? Or a time machine? This is not good. Not good. So she's behind her schedule. Recalling Shizune's exasperation at Ren's carefree attitude several days ago, I don't know what to think. She's left herself open for a told you so unless she can pull off whatever she needs to pull off by Sunday morning. Ren keeps staring at her mural, looking as mortified as she can. Leave me. I'm going to need to work for a while. I glance at Lily, expecting her to share an incredulous look with me as I roll my eyes, but then realize she's not one to do that kind of thing. Leave me. We do, of course, not wanting to aggravate her any more than she already is. There's a churning bad feeling in my gut. Ren sure has a knack of making people feel worried about her. She seems like a person who should never be left alone. Maybe we should call someone? She sounded like she was going into shock or something. I'm sure she will be just fine. She's just, how to say... Lily cocks her head a little, trying to find a polite way of calling Ren crazy without calling her crazy. Unique? Yes, a very unique person. I guess you could say that. She giggles at the notion melodiously, nodding in agreement. Sorry about leaving you stranded as you talk to her. I don't really understand her, so I keep my distance. So my guess was right. Lily offers a slight apologetic smile, as if she was sorry that her own shortcomings had prevented her from coming closer to Ren. I'm not one to blame her, at all. Lily lets slip a long breath, possibly a disguised yawn. I imagine she's exhausted by all this as I am. I'd better leave now and give these to Hanako. Thank you for the company, Hisao. She smiles very sweetly at me. It feels different than normal, despite the fact that she seems to be smiling so often. I can't put my finger on what the difference is. It's just different. Relaxed, I'd say, but that's probably just relief over getting rid of Ren. Maybe. Yeah, good night. Say hi to Hanako for me. I will. Good night. Assuage. Alright. The students roll into class for the Sunday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people that have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students are the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffled papers. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she's making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Muto's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in a life support prison. Well, yeah, you gotta keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think, in hindsight, that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well, then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother that they had slumped on the desk to take a nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left in it before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako's the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead slitters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sense of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the gist dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there is nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. The school is a beehive of activity, but nobody pays me any heed. I saunter past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. You wouldn't guess the school day's over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by, left and right, hurrying as quick as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. Warm, soft air flows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I'd do. I'll drop off my books at the dorms first, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji's in his room. On the way to the dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her and she skids to a stop. Yo, Hisao! Splatters of white and green paint adorn her nose and chin respectively, but her smile is wide, as it seems it always is. She leans closer to me, amplifying the feeling she's examining me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything to do for the festival, and everyone seems to be doing something important. That's perfect, then you can help me in Ren. With the festival preparations? I'm not sure I would be much help. That's fine, I'm not much help either. Emmy grabs my wrist and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Emmy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally run out of breath. We go all the way back to the third floor into the seniors' hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy, had I known. So, is Ren working on that mural still? That's right, she needs all kinds of paints and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom. And you need me to help with that. Well, Ren told me that you already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, here I am again collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room is empty apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging at a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the scrawled handwriting and take a closer look at the materials lying around here. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a most unorganized fashion. Some look like they've been here for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different-sized brushes and unsorted crayons. The smells of paint, turpentine, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils, forming that unmistakable scent of art. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, and passes them to me as she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks up at the shelf longingly, like a child at a toy store, huffing in arrogance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them and catch what she can. It's no surprise that she fails miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height. You are not. She turns around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding, just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but I can't come up with a retort. With a grudging turns it back on me. Turns it back to me. So I begin scrounging around the top shelf for paint, while below, Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little after double-checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone has their weak spots. Only after we have almost all the items collected and spread out on our desk like a treasure hunter spoils do I realize that it wasn't necessarily the height jab that got her riled up. She might not like to be told that she can't do something, like jump. Well, white men can't jump, so... I don't know why I do that so much. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten about it already. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. She's that type of person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart as she clatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and then make our way back to Ren. I chivalrously carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way toward the dormitories. Ren's really stressed about getting her painting done. It's her own fault, though. She should have started earlier. Is she going to make it? No idea. Looks good to me, but with Ren, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning lying in front of the dorm in fetal position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe that the night nurses hadn't found her. And now she's painting again like crazy. Yeah, I've noticed that she comes off as kind of unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that, as well as at my likely too obvious awkwardness. I don't mind it, she's just a little weird sometimes. On that I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with Ren's whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Shizune do. With them working as a single entity sometimes, it's hard to say where one ends and the other begins. Even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Ren are. And Ren is the most different of them all, different from anyone else I've ever met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I return to that word again as if it encompasses Ren's personality by itself, but really it's just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. Emmy giggles as I grasp her about for a properly descriptive word. She's just weird. You know, earlier she spent half an hour sitting on her box and started her toes. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is. All that time. The working area is a mess, but the mural itself has taken over even more of the wall since the last I saw it. The disfigured human figures have been mostly colored in tones of pink, red, and orange, weird imaginary things populating the spaces between. It looks nice. I can't think of any word that would describe the work concisely and comprehensively, so I settle myself on a nondescript nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Ren herself is at the center of this chaos, standing there looking very cozy as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pant legs have been rolled up to her knees, exposing her thin legs which sport a drying spectrum of war paintings, similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Ren ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her. I'm back! That was fast. Did you run the corridors again? Yes, that'll help me. Emmy points victoriously at me. Ren turns around, following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking in my general direction. She nods absent-mindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night, a vacant, glazed stare that focuses slightly off me, and movements like in a slow-motion movie. Hello, Sal. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you made progress, looking good as far as I can tell. But now you get more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. It's a very nice thing to say. For me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. so artists can't find romance. Their favorite TV shows are canceled, or they die young because of an unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they're blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. There's a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy, so he doesn't see. He already told me. I glance sideways at Emmy, and she glances back in a way that tells me she's heard this one before, too. Neither of us says anything to Ren, though, so she continues her monotone soliloquy like an unfunny stand-up comedian. He should become an artist. No bad luck, guaranteed. Did you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize, but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges the supplies we brought, and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Emmy, I need the Prussian blue paint. Which one's Prussian blue? She's staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans, each with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Prussian blue paint in it. Jeez, Ren, you're not helping at all. I'll look around as well, even though I don't know what Prussian blue looks like either. I wonder what blue has to do with Prussia, or what Prussia even is. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. While none of the blues look more Prussian than the others, the small print on the labels is legible enough to determine that none say anything about the contents being Prussian. There's no Prussian blue here. Emmy heaves a sigh. I guess I have to go back and get some. I promised to help with the class project, though, so I'll be back a bit later. Can you manage with that for a few hours? Ren nods, and so Emmy leaves. I stay because I like watching Ren paint, because I have nothing better to do. I sit on a box and pick up today's book from my bag. It's a story about 3 guys drinking beer for 2 weeks straight and doing little else. Ren moves from the spot that was in need of the blue and starts slowly working on another. Her foot works the brush steadily against the plastered wall, layers of paint on top of layers of paint. The mural slowly gains more form. I turn the pages at a leisurely pace. In this chapter they are drinking beer at the protagonist's friend's place. In the previous ones it was the protagonist's own apartment. It's not a page-turn kind of book, a slice of someone's imaginary life that makes me wonder why it had to be written. Why indeed? The reason for doing something creative, something incomprehensible. Like why Ren does paintings. It feels like she and Emmy are the same, going squarely against their fates as if just out of spite. Ren even said something like that. Do something you can't just because you can. Is that what she meant? Is that her reason? It might be Emmy. She comes off as quite a headstrong person. Ren doesn't give off that kind of air. Thinking about it, she doesn't give off any kind of air, or maybe a different kind every time I talk with her. Why did she say what she said? Why does she or anyone at all paint or draw or sculpt or write? I've never had much of a creative impulse, so I don't think I can really understand it. It makes me feel hollow inside. What, is this Dark Souls or something? Okay. What a grim thought. Can't really decide whether it's true or not either. Am I content being this way? Can't deny I'm feeling a little bit envious of Ren, but I can't really consider it a flaw of any kind. I'm myself and she is herself. Still, I do need to find something. Something that could make me feel a little less lost about myself, instead of just drowning myself in these books as I did in the hospital. I can't help but feel disoriented. New school, lifestyle, and people around me contribute heavily to this sensation. I'm trying my best to fit into the existing social circles. Most of the people I've met have been really nice. It still feels like I'm an outsider, though, like I don't belong. I shake the feeling off, realizing I'm spacing out. I've neither turned a page of the book nor done anything for Ren. She's trying to pour some paint from a big can using only her feet, having not bothered to ask me. Or maybe she did and I didn't hear it. Either way, it looks very unstable. I quickly jump to help her as it looks like she's about to spill the entire contents of the can all over the pavement. I take the can from her feet and pour some in the bowl. She doesn't say anything, and neither do I. I catch a glimpse of her eyes, looking silently at me from her unkempt bangs. It's an unreadable expression, a perfect poker face, mixed with a hint of something like a mild surprise. Wonder what she's thinking. Maybe she's wondering about what I'm thinking. Maybe nothing. Penny for your thoughts. Do you have any pennies with you? I don't think I do. Then I don't think I will tell. I'm not thinking anything either, so you're in luck. Except now I just did. She frowns, looking very unsatisfied. It's hard to not think about anything, but it's important. I'm about to ask why it's important when some old guy walks up to us looking like he had some business with Ren. Good afternoon. How's it going? I can make it. Ren doesn't take her eyes off the wall and responds so naturally that I can only assume that they know each other. I haven't seen the man before, so I naturally wonder who he might be. Maybe a teacher? His hair has faded to a silvery gray, so much so that it looks artificially dyed. I hope that's not the case. Small round glasses hang on the bridge of his nose, but it appears he's constantly looking over the lenses rather than through them. He's studying the mural intently over said glasses. Good, good. What bold composition you have here. He moves to inspect the mural closer, talking to himself about it in a way that makes it obvious he wants us to hear it too. Very good indeed. I don't really know what to make of it, but Ren doesn't seem to care much. She's looking over her working space, the various bowls of different tones scattered all over. Sal. A little more of this. Give me a second. I pour 50-50 mix of 2 paints into the bowl to create more of the same pale pink tone Ren was using to fill up the shape of a man's face. Ren watches me doing so, which makes me feel nervous somehow. Her face is so unassuming that it feels like she's just waiting for me to do something wrong. The man turns to reckon me as well. Reckon. Looking unsurprised as if he noticed my presence only just now. Maybe he did. Why, hello there. Who might you be? I'm a transfer student to Class 3-3, Asao Nakai. Nice to meet you. Muchos, Class A. Well, I won't hold that against you. He laughs very loudly, obnoxiously loudly. A few small birds take flight from a nearby tree. I'm Shinichi Namiya, the art teacher. So this is the art teacher. In retrospect, should have guessed that much. He even looks like one as far as first impressions go. How did you come to end up assisting my protege? Wish I knew. This is actually probably a good spot to drop a save. And I would ignore those other saves. Because saying this would allow us to get the Kenji ending, and saying this would allow us to get Ren's ending. And since that's what we're going for right now, say that. I guess I'm a little interested in the art club. I blurted out, partially inadvertently. What do you mean? Nothing specific. Wonder if I could come by sometime, even if it's just to observe or something. I've been thinking that I should join some club or something, so... It's in no way a premeditated move, but a vague sense of determination has really been building inside of me for this past week. I want to do something. I want to belong somewhere. Might as well be the art club, my shortcomings notwithstanding. The teacher seems pleased. Oh, you want to join? Well, we always welcome new people, of course. Club meetings are normal enough. We study various aspects of the fine arts and try our hands at them as well. Or feet. He gives an embarrassed cough, but Ren doesn't seem to mind. I take a small amount of comfort from the fact that I'm not the only one with vocabulary difficulties in this school. Namiya rebounds from his faux pas by theatrically checking the time from his huge gleaming pocket watch and slaps his forehead even more theatrically. I really must take my leave now, but if you have questions, I'm sure Tezuka can clarify. Somehow mentioning clarify and Ren in the same sentence doesn't feel right. However, I don't say as much to the teacher, since he seems to be in a hurry. Tezuka, I'm pleased to see that this little project is going so well. I just stopped by to remind you not to run off by yourself tomorrow. I've invited certain people to the festival for you, and I'm sure they'd like to meet you as well. I hope I'll see you on Monday then, Nakai. The teacher leaves and we are left by ourselves again. Ren is still painting as if nothing notable happened. Since nothing in fact did, I'm left wondering what on earth is wrong with me. Art and I haven't worked well together in the past, and at least judging from the grades I used to have in middle school. I actually have a very brief story about that. I took art classes, 7th grade. I remember, first semester I had a single art class. It was fifth. I get with my middle school, and I might as well end off the episode with this because it'll take a minute or two to go through. But in my middle school, our class schedule was completely and utterly fucked up because we had 7 different classes. We had, the regular 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th. Well, for some reason, my middle school, every day the schedule was different, to where on Mondays it was regular 1 through 7, and then the days after that it would switch it to the left, I guess you could say, by 1 each day. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, It would then go 2, 3, 5 because 4 stayed the same. So it was 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, 7, 1. And then Wednesday it was started with 3, ended with 2, and so on and so forth. But fourth period stayed the same. And apparently, a year or two after I left that school, they changed it so it was even more fucked up, and literally every day the schedule was different. No classes were in the same spot every day. It started like, it wasn't even just on Monday, it was always started with 1, ended with 7. Say it started with 1 on Monday, and it would go, Tuesday would start with 2, Wednesday would start with 3, Thursday would start with 4, Friday would start with 5, the next Monday would start with 6, then that Tuesday would start with 7, and then I guess it would restart. Instead of one class staying in the same spot, it was just everything was fucked up. Then as soon as I got to high school, it was 1 through 7, every day, all 4 years. So I don't know what was wrong with middle school, but that's beside the point, because I was trying to talk about my art classes. First semester, my 5th hour class, because that's what we had to distinguish it, my 5th hour class was an art class. I hated it. Probably why I got an absolute 0 in that. I remember when I got out of that class, I had a 0. And then second semester, I had a second art class because why the fuck not? I did nothing in those art classes. I did absolutely nothing. And yet, my favorite character from this is the artist. I don't know. I don't know. All I can say is shenanigans. That's all I can say about it. But who knows? Maybe a club will be different than an obligatory class. Who knows? Okay, so that'll be it for this video. I'm reckoning you, the viewer, give me a like or favorite if you like this video. Leave me a comment down below if you so choose to, with whatever you want to say down there. Share the video with your friends if you think they might enjoy it. And until next time, keep on painting.